Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Tonight, we invite you to step across the threshold of a sanctuary of greenery and stillness, a sacred space where time itself seems to suspend its majestic flight to let us contemplate the discreet and profound beauty of the botanical world. Take a moment, wherever you are, to adjust your position with care, smooth your blankets, and feel the weight of your body finally surrender to the protective and benevolent gravity of your bed. We are about to explore together the silent and fragrant universe of herbs, those generous plants that have grown faithfully alongside humanity for millennia, nestled in the heart of family gardens, hidden in the damp and mysterious shadows of deep forests, or flourishing with vigor along sun-drenched hillsides and the tranquil banks of slow-moving rivers. Herbs have offered us their delicate fragrances, their healing virtues, and their forgotten stories, proving to be companions that are at once ordinary in their daily presence in our homes and extraordinary in the mysteries they conceal within the deepest reaches of their fibers. They are found in every kitchen, resting simply upon a countertop, yet they hold secrets that span several centuries of civilization and accumulated wisdom. Some have crossed immense oceans and hostile continents, traveling in the silk pockets of brave explorers, while others have drawn their quiet strength from the same soil for generations, tenderly tended by expert hands that knew their names and their sacred functions intimately. Breathe slowly, feel the air circulate with a soothing fluidity in your lungs, and prepare yourself for a total immersion into the serenity of the Garden of Simples. Consider first the basil, this magnificent herb that carries in every cell of its leaves the very essence of a radiant and motionless summer afternoon. Basil is one of those plants that announces itself with nobility even before your hand draws near, for its powerful fragrance saturates the air with an almost palpable presence, a trail that seems to float like a promise of eternal freshness. Visualize with precision the texture of its leaves, a green so tender, so brilliant, and so vibrant that they seem to have imprisoned the golden light of the sun to restore it to our weary eyes. Its fragrance is a complex symphony of sweet, slightly peppery notes, an undeniable freshness that awakens the senses while soothing the torments of the mind. Originally from distant tropical regions stretching from Central Africa to Southeast Asia, basil has traveled phenomenal distances through the ages to feel at home in every garden on the planet, adapting with an immutable grace to every new soil it encounters over time. The leaves of the basil are of an infinite tenderness, overflowing with precious essential oils that only ask to be released at the slightest caress of the breeze or the lightest touch of the fingers. In Italy, basil holds an almost sacred place within the culinary and domestic culture. It is the immovable pillar of traditions, the very foundation of pesto, and the crown of glory for the caprese salad, bringing its unique aromatic signature to every home. In Thailand, holy basil lends its spicy and profound notes, reminiscent of cloves, to the most delicate preparations, while in India, tulsi is considered a divine plant, an earthly manifestation of the sacred. This holy basil is cultivated with particular devotion within homes and temples as an immutable symbol of protection, harmony, and inner peace. There are dozens of varieties of this regal herb. Some exhale scents of fresh lemon. Others evoke the warmth of cinnamon or the mysterious depth of licorice. But all share that characteristic warmth that comforts the soul of the gardener. Basil flourishes fully in clarity and softness, wilting with an immediate sadness as soon as the cold is felt, as if it categorically refused to live in a world deprived of the warmth of the sun. It requires very little to bloom. Constant moisture, nourishing earth, and the benevolent pruning of its tops to encourage a denser, more generous, and more robust growth. When you reach out your hands to harvest a few sprigs, you are not merely picking a simple plant. You are capturing the soul of the warm season, a concentrate of life and solar energy bottled in a setting of chlorophyll. Long before basil became an indispensable companion in our modern kitchens, it held a spiritual and ceremonial rank of capital importance in ancient Egypt. Archaeologists, exploring the houses of eternity of the pharaohs, have discovered persistent traces of basil in burial sites, suggesting that this herb played a major role in mummification rituals and the most secret funeral rites intended to accompany the soul. The ancient Egyptians were convinced that certain plants possessed the mystic power to protect the deceased during their great journey to the afterlife, and basil was among these privileged messengers, capable of crossing the veil between worlds. Its powerful aromatic oils were likely used to preserve the integrity of bodies, or to mask earthly odors during the solemn passage toward a glorious eternity. Beyond these pragmatic functions, basil was perceived as a spiritual bridge connecting the tangible world of the living to the invisible realm of the dead. The Egyptians were master herbalists beyond compare, cultivating vast, lush gardens along the fertile banks of the Nile, where they grew essences intended for medicine, perfumery, and the most sacred ceremonies. The presence of basil at the very heart of royal tombs testifies to its crucial importance in the imagination of the time. It was not a simple ornament, but an intentional choice, placed with infinite precaution alongside the most precious objects. To think that this same herb we use today to season our meals once escorted the sovereigns of antiquity toward the infinite invites a calm, profound, and humble reflection on the permanence of nature and the continuity of life. Basil is the silent witness to our deepest rituals, our moments of sharing, and our oldest stories, crossing through millennia without losing any of its majesty. Its very name in Greek means the king, derived from the term Basilius, which designated the sovereigns of old. Why such a distinction for a plant so humble in appearance? Some scholars suggest that basil was judged so precious, so noble, and so powerful that it deserved an imperial title. In ancient Greece, it was surrounded by legends and devotion. It was whispered that its harvest should be the privilege of ritually pure beings, perhaps even royalty themselves, in order to preserve the integrity of its powers. Other traditions claimed that basil had to be sown while pronouncing strong words to ensure that it grew with extraordinary vigor. In medieval Europe, basil's reputation became more nuanced, tinged with folk beliefs. For some, it was the absolute symbol of love, while for others, it carried within it a share of superstition. Yet, through the ages, the name has persisted unchanged and proud. Basil, the king of herbs. Today, it reigns serenely over the kitchens of the entire world, its royal title reminding us that even the simplest plants carry within them tales of splendor. To cultivate basil is to take care of a living fragment of human history. Let us now turn our attention toward lavender. This plant of quiet elegance and timeless beauty that seems to capture the pure azure of the sky in its delicate flowers. Imagine its long, slender stalks rising gracefully above silver-green foliage, crowned by spikes of purple flowers that oscillate with a hypnotic slowness under the effect of a light breeze coming from the mountains. The beauty of lavender is but a prelude to its profound charm, which instantly soothes anyone who draws near. For more than 2,500 years, humanity has cherished this flower for its incomparable fragrance, its soothing virtues, and its extraordinary versatility in all aspects of human life. The ancient Romans already integrated lavender into their most refined bathing rituals, and it is indeed from the Latin term lavare, which means to wash, that the plant takes its highly evocative name. Roman legionnaires carried provisions of lavender to treat their wounds during long campaigns across the empire, convinced that its antiseptic properties could prevent infection and favor a serene and rapid healing. During the Middle Ages, bundles of lavender were scattered across the stone floors of homes to freshen the atmosphere and keep invisible diseases lurking in the cold air at bay. During the Renaissance, it became the absolute favorite of French perfumery, its essences being captured in precious oils and silk sachets to scent clothing and linen sheets. Lavender is a plant that calms, heals, and delights the spirit with an equal measure of sweetness, inviting us to find inner peace in the sovereign calm of the night. There is an undeniable truth in the scent of lavender, an immediate capacity to reduce anxiety and promote a deep, calm, and restorative sleep. Mentally inhale this scent and feel all your tensions dissolve, as if they were melting under a benevolent, late afternoon sun. This is not merely a popular belief, for rigorous scientific studies have demonstrated that the volatile compounds of lavender, notably linalool and linalool acetate, interact subtly with our nervous system to induce a real and measurable state of physiological calm. Some healthcare facilities use lavender in patient rooms to soothe apprehension before an intervention, while many parents slip sachets of dried flowers under children's pillows to encourage serene nights filled with sweet dreams. In the world of massage and well-being, lavender oil is a precious ally, its fragrance multiplying the effects of physical and mental relaxation. The evidence is clear. Lavender's reputation as the herb of tranquility is amply deserved, and yet its effects remain infinitely gentle, never overwhelming to the senses. It does not impose relaxation, it invites it, like a soothing whisper in a world that has become far too noisy. Keeping lavender nearby is like having a natural ally against daily stress, a fragrant reminder that it is essential to slow down, to stop, and to breathe. Every summer, the landscape of Provence transforms into an absolutely spectacular ocean of purple, a vision that seems to belong to the world of dreams and poets. Lavender fields stretch as far as the eye can see, their blooms creating chromatic ripples under a pure and cloudless Mediterranean sky. The scent there is intoxicating, saturating the atmosphere with a sweetness that seems to define the sweetness of life all on its own. The ancient Greeks and Romans did not merely appreciate lavender for its superficial fragrance. They integrated it into the heart of their most intimate rituals, particularly the bath, which in those times was far more than a simple act of hygiene. For a Roman citizen, bathing was a social ceremony, a moment of absolute relaxation and philosophical conversation, where lukewarm water married the essences of plants to unwind muscles tired by the day's labors. Public bathhouses, those grandiose structures with polished marbles and majestic vaults, were permeated with the scent of lavender, added generously to the waters. This association between the plant and purity is so profound that it became inscribed in the language itself, with the Latin term lavare, meaning to wash, serving as the immovable foundation for this flower's name. The Greeks, for their part, appreciated the aromatic qualities of lavender by using it in perfumes and as incense, burning it in temples and homes to elevate the spirit toward the divine. Soldiers returning from the tumult of battle would bathe in lavender-scented waters to cleanse their wounds and soothe their tormented minds. Wealthy citizens kept precious lavender oils in blown glass vials, using them for personal grooming and to infuse their linen tunics with a lasting freshness. This ancestral love for lavender has never faded over the millennia. And today, when we add a few drops of its essence to a warm bath, we are continuing a gesture that already held its place in the marble palaces of ancient Rome. Let us now consider rosemary, a plant of admirable resilience that flourishes where so many others would fail, clinging with quiet strength to rocky and arid soils. Its leaves, resembling small, dense, and leathery needles, exhale a powerful, woody, and resinous aroma, reminiscent of the eternal freshness of pine forests the moment they are touched. For centuries, rosemary has been inseparable from memory and mental clarity. Imagine a student in ancient Greece, their brow encircled by a hand-woven crown of rosemary, persuaded that the fragrance of the plant sharpened their intellect and anchored knowledge deep within their consciousness. In Shakespeare's famous tragedy, Ophelia murmurs that there's rosemary, that's for remembrance. This poetic connection between the plant and memory finds a fascinating echo in modern scientific research. It has been discovered that certain volatile compounds in rosemary, such as cineol, can subtly influence our brain chemistry, improving concentration and mental alertness. In the past, rosemary was burned as incense during exams or crucial events to maintain the vigilance of participants. Brides carried sprigs of rosemary in their bouquets to symbolize fidelity and the eternal memory of their commitment, while mourners placed those same branches upon graves to signify that those who have departed will never be forgotten. Rosemary has thus become the universal symbol of remembrance, a plant that helps us hold on to what truly matters. If you were to walk one day along the sun-drenched cliffs bordering the Mediterranean Sea, you would encounter rosemary in its wild state, nestled in the crevices of rocks where soil seems almost non-existent. It thrives under an implacable heat, its roots plunging deep into the earth to draw every last trace of invisible moisture, while its foliage endures the burning sun without complaint. Its natural habitat is coastal, where sea breezes carry salty mists that settle upon its leaves in the early morning. It is from this meeting of earth and spray that its poetic name, Rose marinus, originates, meaning dew of the sea. In the first light of dawn, wild rosemary glimmers, its silver-green foliage adorned with tiny beads of moisture left by the ocean air, offering a spectacle of purity and renewal. For the ancient peoples dwelling on these shores, rosemary was a familiar presence, an inseparable part of the landscape, the kitchen, and sacred traditions. Unlike many herbs that live only for a single season, rosemary is a perennial shrub capable of crossing decades if treated with kindness. In mild climates, it can become an imposing bush with woody, gnarled stems, testifying to its patience and longevity. To plant rosemary is an act that belongs to the long term. It is offering a fragrant legacy to future generations who will, in their turn, breathe in its timeless scent. Moving our gaze to the small and resilient, let us contemplate thyme. This low-growing herb has tiny leaves, but an outsized reputation, carrying within it the very strength of the earth. Since antiquity, thyme has been the absolute symbol of courage and bravery. Greek soldiers bathed in infusions of thyme before going into battle, convinced that the plant fortified their spirits and gave them the valence needed to face adversity. In those times, to say that someone smelled of thyme was one of the highest compliments, for it suggested a vigor and power of character beyond the ordinary. During the Middle Ages, European knights often carried sprigs of thyme embroidered onto their scarves by noble ladies as a protective talisman. This association with resilience likely comes from the plant's own nature, flourishing on rocky slopes and in harsh climates where few other vegetables dare to venture. Thyme also possesses natural antiseptic properties that made it precious for healing wounds in the past. Though we know it today primarily as a pillar of Mediterranean cooking, its history as a symbol of courage persists, reminding us that even the smallest creations of nature can carry a grandiose meaning. It is fascinating to note that thyme is not a single plant, but a vast family of over 300 different species across the globe, each possessing its own characteristics and nuances. Some varieties crawl along the soil, forming dense, flowering mats ideal for covering the earth, while others rise proudly with woody stems. Lemon thyme expresses bright, luminous citrus notes. Woolly thyme offers soft, downy leaves like velvet to the touch. And wild thyme drapes hillsides in a mantle of purple and pink flowers at the arrival of spring. This incredible diversity makes thyme a favorite among gardeners. When wild thyme blooms on Mediterranean slopes, the landscape explodes with color and fragrance, attracting clouds of bees and butterflies in a ceaseless ballet. Walking through a field of wild thyme is a total sensory experience, each step releasing an explosion of aromas, while the air vibrates with the peaceful hum of insects harvesting nectar. Thyme honey, derived from these blooms, is considered one of the most refined in the world. Its deep amber color hides a complex, rich, and warm flavor that lingers on the palate, carrying the memory of sun-soaked hills. The ancient Greeks considered the honey of Mount Hymettus, produced from wild thyme, a sacred food worthy of the gods. To taste thyme, honey is to connect with a millennial tradition, a golden gift offered by the hive and the earth. Now consider the enthusiasm of mint, a plant of overflowing vitality and communicative energy. Once established in a patch of earth, mint spreads with remarkable speed, sending out underground runners to explore the soil and bring forth new shoots far from the original plant. In a garden, its vigor is such that it can sometimes become invasive, colonizing flower beds with unwavering determination. This tenacity is part of its charm. It is a plant that wants to live, that wants to flourish, and that responds to the slightest care with explosive growth. In the wild, it prefers the edges of streams and damp meadows, where its habit of spreading allows it to conquer fertile, cool banks. Humanity has drawn upon this vigor for millennia, cultivating mint for its refreshing taste and its countless domestic uses. Despite its impetuous character, it remains one of the most beloved herbs in the world, offering its coolness to anyone who takes the time to pick it. Its impatient growth is a reminder of the life force that animates the botanical world, an energy we can contemplate in total tranquility. There are over 600 varieties of mint, from peppermint with its bold, icy flavor to spearmint, which is gentler and more subtle. You may even encounter chocolate mint, whose scent subtly evokes cocoa, or apple mint, pineapple mint, and ginger mint. This immense diversity is a testament to the infinite creativity of nature. In ancient Greece, hospitality was considered a sacred duty, and mint played a discreet but highly significant role. Before guests arrived for a meal, hosts would rub wooden tables with fresh mint leaves to release a scent of welcome and renewal. In Greek mythology, Mint has its own legend, that of the nymph Minth who, after attracting the attention of Hades, the god of the underworld, was transformed into a humble plant by the jealous Persephone. Hades, to console her, gave the plant a wonderful fragrance so that every time she was stepped upon, she would release an exquisite aroma, transforming her suffering into beauty. Peppermint itself is a natural hybrid, a wondrous cross between spearmint and watermint that occurred centuries ago in European gardens. When you sip mint tea, you experience a magical sensory illusion orchestrated by a compound called menthol. Menthol has the singular ability to trick your brain by activating the cold receptors on your tongue and skin. Your mind interprets this chemical interaction as a wave of icy freshness, even though the ambient temperature remains perfectly unchanged. It is a sensory sleight of hand, a caress of frost in the middle of summer, explaining why mint is so deeply refreshing for the body and soul. Let us turn our thoughts now to chamomile, the embodiment of gentleness and serenity in the plant kingdom. Imagine its small flowers, like miniature daisies, with golden hearts surrounded by milk-white petals, swaying with touching humility in sunlit meadows. When dried and steeped in shimmering water, these blossoms release a suave aroma evocative of ripe apples and wildflower honey. Chamomile has been consumed by humanity for thousands of years, prized for its calming virtues that act like a hand placed upon the shoulder at the end of a long, taxing day. The ancient Egyptians dedicated this sacred flower to the sun god Ra, using it in precious remedies to soothe fevers and various ailments of the body. The Greeks and Romans drank it regularly to stabilize a restless mind and facilitate a peaceful digestion after feasts. In the Middle Ages, it held a place of honor in monastery gardens, where monks prepared medicinal infusions for travelers and pilgrims exhausted by the road. The reputation of chamomile as an incomparable ally for sleep is not misplaced, for it contains apigenin, a precious antioxidant that possesses the ability to bind to specific brain receptors to promote relaxation and drowsiness. Preparing a cup of chamomile before falling asleep has become a universal ritual for millions of people around the world, a clear signal sent to the body that it is finally time to let go and abandon all tensions. The very name of chamomile reveals its deep identity and its intimate bond with the earth. It is derived from the Greek terms chamos, meaning on the ground, and melon, meaning apple. Together, they form the wonderful concept of the ground apple, in reference to the plant's low stature, and the fruity, sweet scent its flowers release when brushed by the feet of a passerby. This poetic description shows the attention and sensitivity with which our ancestors observed the natural world, finding similarities between the fragrances of orchards and the wild flowers of the fields. Chamomile stretches close to the earth, finding its place in meadows and along forgotten paths, its white petals oscillating gently just above the soil. The idea of an earthly apple is charming, evoking images of autumn harvests and gardens bathed in golden light. In the beloved tales of our childhood, such as the story of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, chamomile appears as the ultimate remedy of the caring mother. When young Peter returns home exhausted and suffering from a stomach ache after his imprudent adventures, his mother tenderly tucks him in and administers a dose of chamomile tea. This was not a random choice by the author, as she drew from the traditional herbal knowledge of English households, where chamomile was the trusted solution to soothe restless children and quiet a nervous heart. Consider now the sage, a plant that carries within it the twin symbols of wisdom and longevity. Its Latin name, salvia, derives directly from the verb salvare, meaning to save, to heal, or to be in good health, illustrating the immense respect that ancient civilizations held for this medicinal herb. Since antiquity, sage has been used to treat a multitude of conditions, from the most persistent throat pains to the deepest troubles of the spirit. It is a plant of resilience, capable of flourishing in the driest and most rocky soils, where other vegetables struggle to survive. Its leaves are unique to the touch, dense, and covered in a fine down that gives them a texture similar to velvet or deerskin. Of a grayish, silvery green, they contain precious oils with powerful antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. For the Romans, sage was a sacred herb, harvested with specific rituals by moisteneurs dressed in white tunics, with bare feet, using no iron tools, as they believed that metal could corrupt the plant's divine properties. Sage played a crucial role in food preservation before the invention of refrigeration, its essential oils slowing the growth of bacteria in meats. This is why we still associate sage with sausages and roasts, a marriage of flavors that was once a matter of survival. Parsley, often relegated to a simple decoration on our plates, possesses a heroic and symbolic history of unexpected richness. In ancient Greece, parsley was not just a kitchen herb. It was a symbol of victory and athletic excellence. The winners of the Nemean Games were crowned with wreaths of fresh parsley, a distinction as prestigious as the laurel crowns. Parsley was also closely associated with the mysteries of death and the passage to the afterlife, and the Greeks would plant it on graves to honor the departed. This symbolic duality between the celebration of victorious life and the respect for mourning made parsley a complex and respected plant. The Greeks believed that parsley seeds had to travel down to the kingdom of the dead and return 9 times before they could finally germinate and pierce the surface of the earth. This legend stems from the extreme slowness of the plant's germination, which can require several weeks of patience from any gardener. Parsley teaches us perseverance, reminding us that the most precious things often take time to reveal themselves. Whether flat leaf or curly, it brings an indispensable freshness to our table, a nutritional powerhouse hidden behind delicate foliage. Let us now consider the case of coriander, a plant that offers 2 treasures in a single life cycle. Its fresh leaves, often called cilantro, possess a bright and lemony flavor, while its seeds, called coriander, release a warm, sweet, and almost orangey fragrance once dried. Coriander is one of the oldest herbs known to humanity. Its seeds found in Egyptian tombs as offerings for eternity. Fascinating scientific fact about this plant is that for a portion of the population, coriander tastes like soap due to a specific genetic variation, the OR6A2 gene, which modifies how one perceives its aromatic compounds. This biological detail reminds us that our perception of the world is a delicate dance between nature and our own biology. Coriander has traveled the Silk Roads, settling in the kitchens of India, China, and Mexico, becoming a pillar of global flavors. Dill, with its feathery leaves that seem to dance in the slightest breath of wind, is an herb of beauty and comfort. Cultivated for over 5,000 years, it appears in ancient Egyptian medical texts and the recipes of Sumer. Its name likely comes from the Old Norse word diller, meaning to soothe or to lull, referring to its traditional use in calming the stomachs of infants. Dill water has been for centuries the remedy of choice for colicky bobbies, a grandmother's secret passed down through generations. In ancient Rome, gladiators would rub their limbs with dill oil to strengthen them, while in the Middle Ages, bouquets of dill were hung over doorways to protect against sorcery. Today, dill is inseparable from Scandinavian cuisines and pickling, bringing its delicate flavor of anise and lemon to fish and vegetables. Oregano is the very flavor of the Mediterranean summer, an herb whose aromatic power seems to have captured all the heat of the sun. Its small, rough, and slightly bitter leaves carry a warmth that sublimes olive oil and sun-ripened tomatoes. Imagine a rocky hillside bathed in light, where wild oregano grows among dry stones. Its name, from ancient Greek, literally means joy of the mountain. The ancient Greeks associated oregano with pure happiness, tressing wreaths of this herb for newlyweds, and planting it on graves to ensure the peace of the departed. Oregano possesses a rare quality. Its flavor intensifies once dried, as dehydration concentrates its essential oils like carvacrol and thymol, which also granted remarkable antimicrobial properties. Using oregano today is a way to summon the memory of an immutable landscape where the ungrateful earth offers one of its most beautiful treasures of joy. Bay leaves, with their rigid, glossy, and deep green texture, take us back to the roots of mythology. Coming from the noble laurel tree, this majestic plant was once consecrated to the god Apollo. We are told that the Oracle of Delphi chewed its leaves to induce sacred visions, while poets and victorious athletes were seen with laurel wreaths, eternal symbols of honor. The laurel is a tree that takes its time, growing with exemplary patience and keeping its dark foliage throughout the year. In the kitchen, the bay leaf demands the same patience, for it must be dried to reveal its full complexity. A single leaf, plunged into a simmering pot of soup or a stew, is enough to infuse the entire dish with its discreet but indispensable essence. It is the silent worker, the one that does not seek to dominate, but creates a harmonious and profound foundation for all other flavors. Tarragon presents itself to us with a very particular elegance, its long and narrow leaves exhaling a fragrance of rare finesse. Its taste is a delicate dance between the sweetness of anise and a very pure note of licorice, without, however, possessing the raw strength of oriental spices. In French haute cuisine, tarragon is an undisputed star, the secret ingredient of the béarnaise sauce, and the ideal companion for poultry and fine fish. There is a botanical mystery surrounding French tarragon, as this variety prized by cooks almost never produces fertile flowers, and therefore no seeds. To multiply it, humans must intervene, taking cuttings or dividing the roots, making each French tarragon plant a living extension of its ancestors. This particularity guarantees a constant purity of taste through the centuries. In contrast, Russian tarragon, although more robust and capable of producing seeds, does not possess this aromatic richness, often proving to be closer to a simple green weed. Tarragon demands care, well-drained soil, and much gentleness, but it rewards those who cultivate it with a complexity of flavor that belongs to it alone. Its name derives from the term esdragon, meaning little dragon, perhaps because of the sinuous shape of its roots or its supposed ability to heal the bites of venomous creatures. Today, it remains the symbol of a cuisine of precision and balance. Chervil is undoubtedly the most discreet and timid herb of the family. With its finely divided leaves, similar to a plant lace of a very light green, it evokes the fragility of the first spring mornings. Its taste is a caress, a subtle blend of flat-leaf parsley and wild chervil, with a hint of anise so light that it seems to be but a murmur. Nicknamed the gourmet's parsley, chervil is one of the pillars of French fines herbs, bringing its nobility to spring omelets and vegetable creams. It is an ephemeral plant that does not support intense heat, and which withers with an immediate sadness once picked. It cannot be dried without losing all its soul. It must be consumed in the instant, fresh and vibrant. Cultivating chervil demands humility. It prefers shade and coolness, growing quickly before leaving its place to others. This fugacity makes it all the more precious, reminding us that some beauties can only be captured in the present moment. In the kitchen, it is never boiled. It is added at the last moment, finely chopped, so that it releases its delicate perfume without being denatured by the fire. Chervil is a lesson in delicacy, an invitation to appreciate the finest nuances of nature. Chives are the smallest and most graceful of the edible onion species. They grow in tight clumps, their cylindrical and hollow leaves rising like thin bulrush stems of a vibrant green. Their flavor is that of the onion, but stripped of any aggressiveness, offering a herbaceous sweetness that adapts to a multitude of preparations. Used in China and Europe for more than 5,000 years, chives are one of the gardener's most faithful herbs, reborn each year with inexhaustible generosity. At the end of spring, they adorn themselves with magnificent spherical flowers of a tender purple that are not only a feast for the eyes, but also for the palate. These flowers, broken down into small individual stars, bring a crunchy and slightly sweet note to salads. Chives were once hung in houses to ward off evil spirits, a symbolic protection born of their robustness and purifying scent. Easy to grow, even in a simple pot on a windowsill, they offer a daily link with the earth, reminding us that freshness is within reach. They require no complex transformation. A simple snip of the scissors is enough to release their essence and transform an ordinary dish into a moment of careful tasting. Fennel is a plant of light and space, capable of reaching impressive heights with its robust stems and feathery foliage that recalls that of dill. Every part of fennel is a gift, from its fleshy and crunchy bulb to its aromatic stalks, passing through its delicate fronds and its seeds with the scent of licorice. Fennel is inseparable from Greek history, its original name, Marathon, having given its name to the famous plain where the historic battle took place. It is said that Greek warriors consumed fennel to give themselves courage and endurance, seeing in this plant a symbol of physical strength. Fennel seeds, chewed after a meal, have been a sovereign remedy since antiquity to soothe digestion and freshen the breath. In Indian and Middle Eastern cultures, this practice is still alive, a small bowl of seeds often being offered at the end of feasts. Fennel possesses a natural sweetness that recalls anise, but with a more earthy depth. In its wild state, it borders Mediterranean roads, its yellow flowers in the shape of umbels attracting insects under a leaden sun. It is a plant of resilience and generosity, capable of transforming the poorest soils into a source of complex and refreshing flavor. Consider now lemon balm, this plant of joy and clarity that belongs to the large and generous mint family. While it shares with its cousins a propensity to spread with enthusiastic vigor in gardens, it is distinguished by an absolutely unique fragrance of fresh lemon and morning dew. It is enough to crush one of its leaves between your fingers to release a solar and invigorating scent that seems to immediately lighten the weight of worries. For centuries, lemon balm has been used to soothe tried nerves and lift spirits darkened by melancholy. The monks of the Middle Ages cultivated it with particular devotion, transforming it into elixirs and infusions to dissipate anxiety and promote a dreamless rest. A famous doctor of the 16th century, Paracelsus, went so far as to name lemon balm the elixir of life, convinced that it possessed the mysterious power to prolong the youth and vitality of the human soul. Contemporary science has observed that lemon balm extracts can positively influence our mood by acting on certain neurotransmitters, thus offering a natural and benevolent support in the quest for serenity. Its botanical name, Melissa officinalis, comes to us from the Greek term meaning the bee, as these foraging insects are irresistibly attracted by its small white flowers and its suave perfume. The beekeepers of old rubbed their hives with lemon balm leaves to calm the swarms and incite them to stay within their dwelling. Planting lemon balm is thus inviting life and the music of wings into your garden, creating a haven where bees and humans find mutual comfort. Marjoram presents itself as the gentler, more delicate, and sweeter cousin of oregano. Although they share a close botanical kinship, marjoram is distinguished by a much more subtle and floral flavor, punctuated by light notes of pine and citrus. It is never aggressive, but brings a discreet warmth that sublimes the finest preparations without ever dominating them. The ancient Greeks called it, just like oregano, the joy of the mountain, and they considered it a plant of pure happiness and celebration. They firmly believed that marjoram brought fortune to those who cultivated it, weaving wreaths of this herb for young spouses and sowing it on resting places to ensure the eternal tranquility of those who have left us. Marjoram demands a welcoming earth and plenty of sun, but it offers in return a fragrance that seems to soothe the senses from the first contact. In European culinary traditions, it is precious for flavoring stews and delicate meats, acting as a balm of flavor. It was also used in traditional medicine to calm digestive torments and soothe mental agitation, its intrinsic sweetness being seen as a remedy for the brutality of the outside world. Savory, whether of summer or winter, possesses a peppery and vigorous personality. The summer herb, annual and delicate, is often called the bean herb because of its particular affinity with legumes, whose digestion it facilitates while enhancing the earthy flavor. The winter herb, perennial and woody, possesses a more pronounced, more resinous taste, capable of braving the most rigorous frosts. The Romans, who appreciated it immensely, associated savory with satyrs, those mythological creatures of the forest symbolizing vitality and desire, thus lending it stimulating and almost magical virtues. Savory is a plant of character, an herb that recalls the scrubland and wild landscapes, bringing a note of strength and spice to everyday cooking. Its tiny flowers, white or pinkish, are a delight for pollinators, making this plant a pillar of biodiversity within the garden. Borage offers us one of nature's most charming spectacles with its star-shaped flowers of an azure blue, a color so rare and so pure that it seems to have fallen from the sky. Its hairy leaves and robust stems hide a surprising taste of fresh cucumber, bringing an unexpected note of freshness to summer salads. Borage flowers, entirely edible, are often frozen in ice cubes or scattered on dishes for their ethereal beauty. Since antiquity, borage has been credited with the power to give courage and drive away sadness. It was said that warriors drank wine infused with borage before combat to fortify their hearts, and this reputation as a plant of bravery has crossed the ages to us. Cultivating borage is a daily enchantment, for the plant reseeds itself, returning each year as a faithful friend. Its presence brings a sensation of freshness and optimism to the garden, reminding us that beauty and courage can be born from a simple starry flower. Lovage is a plant of imposing stature, capable of rising up to 2 meters with foliage that evokes that of celery, but with a tenfold intensity of flavor. It is the herb of depths, the one that brings a base note, a flavor of broth and earth that instantly enriches everything it touches. Although it has become rarer in our contemporary gardens, it was once an indispensable pillar of medieval vegetable plots. All parts of lovage are usable, from its powerful leaves to its aromatic seeds and its fleshy roots. It has digestive virtues recognized since Antiquity, the Romans using it with great regularity in their culinary preparations and remedies. Lovage is a plant of patience, returning each year with a renewed strength to offer its generosity to the one who knows how to appreciate it. Sorrel brings with it a tangy and lively note, a biting freshness that wakes up sleeping palates. Its lemon flavor, due to its oxalic acid content, makes it a perfect transition herb, capable of cutting through the richness of fatty dishes. It is one of the first greens to pierce the ground in spring, offering a precious source of vitamins after the long winter months. In France, sorrel soup is a classic of family cooking, a dish where cream and butter adroitly soften the strength of the herb to create a perfect balance. Sorrel was once picked in wild meadows before being domesticated in royal gardens, always keeping within it that share of freedom and spice that makes its charm. All these herbs, so diverse and so rich, tell us a story of constant interaction between humans and the earth. Monastery gardens, those places of silence and study called hortus conclusus, were the guardians of this millennial knowledge during the centuries of darkness. The monks cultivated squares of medicinal herbs there, the gardens of simples, where each plant was chosen for its ability to heal a part of the body or the soul. In the gloom of libraries, they copied ancient manuscripts with infinite patience, thus preserving the names and uses of these sacred plants. The Renaissance knot gardens then transformed these utilitarian herbs into geometric works of art, where thyme, lavender, and boxwood drew complex interlacings intended to be admired from palace balconies. Taking care of an herb garden is also taking care of an entire ecosystem. Herbs are the natural protectors of the vegetable garden, attracting beneficial insects that protect crops from parasites. Plant companionship is an ancient science that teaches us that nature works better as a team. Basil protects tomatoes, lavender wards off unwanted insects from roses, and chamomile heals languishing plants nearby, drying herbs at the end of the season, suspending them in bouquets in a cool and dark place, or freezing them in oil to preserve their brilliance, are all ways of prolonging this bond with nature throughout the year. Lavender sachets slipped into wardrobes, potpourris of rose petals and rosemary, or dried herb wreaths hanging from doors, are the messengers of this inner garden that we carry within us. Herbs are the silk threads that weave the fabric of our memories and traditions. They are present in moments of joy as in moments of reflection, in the bouquets of brides and the crowns of victors. They elevate our simplest meals and heal our oldest ailments. Cultivating your own herbs is to find a form of independence and deep connection with the cycle of the seasons. It is to learn to wait for the seed to germinate and the leaf to flourish. As we reach the end of this exploration, imagine this garden at twilight. The air is calm, the light fades, and the shadows stretch gently over the rows of thyme and sage. The fragrances become denser, deeper, as the coolness of the night settles in. Everything is motionless, at peace, waiting for sleep. The herbs, too, are resting, their roots anchored in the welcoming earth, and their leaves turned toward the first stars. Let yourself be carried by this vision of serenity, by this botanical silence that asks for nothing but to be shared. Feel your body sink into rest, carried by centuries of wisdom and beauty. The world of herbs surrounds you with its benevolence. Sleep now, wrapped in the eternal fragrance of nature. Everything is calm, everything is quiet. Good night, good night, good night.